All right, guys. Tonight we're going to be learning about how to write a listing agreement, right? Last week we did the contract of sale, right? We have part 1 and part 2. So this is now it's very, very similar. You know, the forms, there's a few, obviously the forms are going to be different. I mean, there is a lot of overlap, but the process is exactly the same, right? We're going to go into command. We're going to go and create an opportunity. Well, first the database, right? Make sure they're in our database. Create the opportunity, link that opportunity to DocuSign, then go into DocuSign and start filling out the details, loading the documents, then creating an envelope like we usually do, and then loading up the signatures and so forth. So we're going to go through what forms you need, and of course the process. And then I wanted to save some time in the end just to talk about the exclusive listing agreement as well, which is a little, you know, a prequel really to the listing agreement, but I just want to save a little time in the end to go over that too. So, all right, so you guys can see my screen, right? Command? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to log in, right? Log in like you guys usually do. Okay. Takes you to the home page. So we want to make sure, right, the first thing we do is that they're in our database. Whoever your sellers are, right, are going to be in your database. So when we're up to this point, you know, obviously you guys have spoken to the sellers, you're getting the house ready, right? Let's just say, like, what kinds of things have you guys, you know, can you tell me you've done in preparation for this listing agreement? You've obviously went on the listing presentation, right?
Yep.
So you're in the meantime, you discuss the financials, right? The commissions, you come to an agreement of the minds, right?
Yeah.
And we've done that through Ignite and Spark, right? We talked about all those things leading up to this. So this is going to basically, right after you guys finish up with your listing presentation at the home, right? You're going to come back and you're going to fill this out right away, right? Right away to send it out to them, what you just discussed, right? And then from now until whenever you've decided to go active, you're gonna get the house ready and so forth, right? That's all a later stage. Okay, so here we want to just make sure that you put in all the contact information for your sellers. If it's the husband and wife, or if there's two people, you know, you have to put it in for both, right? And you guys all know how to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward, right? Add a contact if they're not in there, put in their name, email, phone. Right? And then you're going to create. I'm going to use, I think I'm still in here. Let me see if I have my different. I mean, I'm in here as an agent. I guess I can use mine. I can just grab anybody's name from here. Okay, so then we go into the opportunities. And then we have here listings, buyers and leases, right? The same header. Last time we were in buyers, right? Now we're going to go under the listing part here. So we're going to, let me let Priya in. We're going to go to create an opportunity. Opportunity type is a listing. Your client, right? We're going to put the client name in. What did we use last time? I can just pick, I'll just pick anybody.
I think we used Raj's name.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, I think Raj is on too. We'll use Raj's name. All right, there we go. And if there's a co-seller, you know, list the co-seller, right? The wife or the second person on there. And again, right after listing, I'll usually put, you know, the address. We'll just use mine. I usually just do that because when you have a lot of opportunities, it's easier rather than remembering the name with the property to kind of see the property name here already, the address, I mean, so you kind of know. You can create a custom tag too here if you'd like. The only other required field here is the commission rate. So you would put in basically what your split was based on your discussions with the seller. So if it's 5, you know, usually you'll split it 2.5, 2.5, right? So 2.5. and then what stage you're at. We'll just make it active, pre-listing. This doesn't matter. You can always change that at a later date, but you have to enter it because it's got the asterisk here. Okay, so we're going to create an opportunity. And again, on this side, you don't need to worry about this side. The right side is the part where you put the property information. So first the country, the address, and then it auto populates as you're typing. Right, that's it. Super easy. Hit save. And that's all you have to do on this part. There is a seller worksheet here. Like you don't need to fill any of this out to get the opportunity going. So try to keep it very, very simple. Then you go to the documents. And then it tells you here basically what documents are needed, like required, and which ones are optional, and which ones are conditional based on an if this then kind of scenario, right? So you always need a copy of the MLS listing, and that's obviously after you enter it into the MLS and you make it active, then you come back and put that in. Optional is exclusive listing agreement, which we're going to talk about more detail at the end, but do you guys pretty much know right by now what that is? Exclusive listing agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
It's within the agency, right? Within the brokerage.
Correct. And there's a whole separate listing agreement for that. And then there's an addendum that goes with it that they're understanding of waiver of broker cooperation. It's like a disclosure to let them know that they're waiving it. But we'll get into that at the end. And that's usually used for when you're going to have a gap between when you're actually signing a listing agreement and then when it's going active, beyond just the coming soon. A coming soon is usually a 10-day window, and then you have to keep re-signing it. This is more of a long-term plan. And we'll talk more about it, but it's also a good way to try to keep it in-house and to get double end the deal, right? Both sides. Home warranty disclosure is required. Dual agency required because you could represent both sides. Conditional, only if you're using Monmouth, right? That's not required. Seller's disclosure is required, but if the seller chooses not to, then you need to have a seller declination letter or form signed. Sorry, my mouse is acting up. Lead paint if it's before 1978. Of course, the CIS for the seller. And these are conditional because of the MLSs. And then if you're using a Garden State MLS, it's not here, but the Garden State requires you to use a worksheet. Have you guys seen that worksheet yet for the Garden State MLS? If you haven't done a list, if you haven't done a listing, you probably haven't seen it yet. I'll show you where that is. They require you so each of the MLSs has a little bit of a different requirement. Garden State MLS has their own listing agreement, which is the primary one that we use. I'll show you through the Garden State MLS. They have their own listing agreement. Central Jersey MLS has, again, their own listing agreement, which you can get off of the actual MLS website, but it's also in our DocuSign. Now, Bright does not have its own MLS, have its own listing agreement. So what we do in that case is you basically just sign the Garden State listing agreement and use that. Now, Bright doesn't require you to send anything to them. Bright is super easy. Central Jersey MLS does require you to send certain documents, right? They're very, very strict for you guys that know Central Jersey MLS as far as the language you use in the listing. They're very strict about it. And Garden State MLS also requires you to send the listing agreement and a profile sheet. The profile sheet is basically a draft of everything you're inputting into the MLS. So they require those two things. So each of them has like a little bit of a different thing that they require. All right. So then, just like before, we want to link this with a DocuSign transaction. So we go to start a transaction. Oops. Okay, DocuSign. All right, you can log in. So just like we did before, the first thing you want to do is always just fill out the details. Again, you don't need to worry about anything on the left. The primary thing you need to worry about are the things on the right. So in this case, you're representing the seller this time, so you want to put in all of the information that you have on them. So obviously, first you have to hit edit, so open up these fields. And then you start typing the address. And again, this doesn't have to be, the address that I'm typing in right now doesn't have to be the subject properties address. This is the address like as you would get off of the tax records. We already have here the location of the home, which is the primary, the selling address, the home that we're selling. Now, they may not live there. They may be, this might be an investment property, whatever it is, they may have a different address for mailing, right? So what you wanted to do, just like we did last time when we were representing the buyer and we went back to the tax records to see what the seller's address was, we would do the same thing in this case. Do you guys remember the website we go to verify the tax information? The NJACTB, did I get it right?
Yep,
Yes.
NJTAB.
Yep, that one. Or like me, I just have it bookmarked in my folder. And I go to New Jersey Assessment Records Search, and I have it right there. It goes straight to there. If you could go to the other one we just said, the NJACTB, and then use like an extra click to get here. So this is basically it. So you would search here, you would put, what county it's in, what city, and then you would put in the name of the owner, of the name or the property location, and then see what address comes up. And then you want to make sure that it matches up with what you're inputting in DocuSign. All right, if there was a second seller, you put their information in here as well. And then you would put your information as you're the listing agent. And just verify that all of that is correct. There's a second listing agent. Now, we don't know who the buyer is, obviously, yet. Okay, so we're just going to leave all the rest of that blank after this. Okay, and then always remember to hit save, or else you'll lose it. Then we're going to start loading up the documents. So let's shoot off which documents do we need. So we're going to go to DocuSign, Forms. You can go to, so the folders we're going to use primarily are the listing documents folder, the KW 705, the NJAR, and then we're going to work off of a Garden State MLS. So there may be some additional forms in the Garden State MLS website. All right, so let's start shooting off. What are some of the forms?
CIS.
Exclusive right to sell listing,
So start typing CIS. Okay, what's the other one?
exclusive right to sell.
That would be, you mean your listing agreement, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Home warranty.
We're gonna
That's right.
do GSMLS listing commission agreement, okay? Home warranty. Under the other folder.
That's dual content, dual agency.
Yeah, dual agency.
Okay. What
Seller's
else?
disclosure.
Yep, seller's disclosure.
Any addendums?
Say that again?
Any addendums?
Addendums, okay. Yep, if it was like lead paint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can start typing and it'll pull it up. So
Copy
you
of the
can,
MLS?
what's that?
Copy of the MLS agreement? Or,
I added the Garden State listing agreement.
okay.
That was the exclusive right to sell that Ash was referring to. So
Gotcha.
here you can have, let's see here. Like a homeowner's, right, an HOA, if there was an HOA, you know, you would have that. If you, okay, here, if you go to the jar, you get all the addendums. So these are all the possible addendums you could have. Now, you see some listing agents, you know, don't put this information in the MLS and so forth, right? Because they make you call them. You know, I just put it in the MLS when you guys get the seller's disclosure, all the addendums, you know, that way they have a complete package when they're submitting offers to you, right?
Okay.
It just makes it so much easier, right? So,
So it'd be also like a well or a septic as well, yeah.
yeah, you could have a well, septic are usually the common ones. Now, if you have a multifamily, right, and you would have to get properties with 3 or more units if it had more than 3 units in it. You would have that, yeah. Of swimming pools, usually another common one.
What does the swimming pool usually entail? Is that like a big deal?
No, it's basically the purpose of that one is to say that the pool is as is, you know, because sometimes you can't inspect the pool fully in the winter, you
Right.
know? So they're accepting the fact that the inspections are done as much as can be, right? As thorough of a job given, you know, circumstances.
Okay.
And that a pool is usually an as is item. Because, you know, pools are funny, you know, it could be working perfectly like 1 week and then the next week it's something's wrong, right? So they're very funny pools, very funny, but that's what that addendum basically says, that they have a right to inspection. The pool is usually as is. You know, you always hear those things where people are like, oh, do we have to open up the pool?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, you don't have to open up the pool. And actually this addendum, it doesn't require you to, you're getting the pool as is, you know?
Okay.
You just kind of, you know, the inspector can inspect the pipes. I mean, you know, you can't open a pool in January, right? So you just have to inspect the pipes. Just do, you know, your due diligence as far as just observe, like looking at it and seeing, you know, does it look okay? You know, is it holding water, right? Do I see a humongous crack in it? You know, those kinds of things. But as far as like operation, it's like really as is. This is like such a common thing. You know, and then you have the really difficult buyers who are like, well, I want to make sure it's working. You know, it just causes sometimes more problems than is needed, but you work through it. It's actually a good addendum to have because it explains it to them in that way. Yep, and then any of these other ones you might need, like fuel tanks and so forth. But those are the common ones, usually like an HOA or a lead paint, you know.
So where is the
septic.
one for septic? If there's one, is there one for septic?
Yeah, but it was here. Let's
Is that
see.
private sewage disposal? No.
No, I think that's a different one. Let me see. Let me type in septic and see if it comes up. Let me just add that one and we'll read it to see. I think this is different though. I don't think it's this one,
Okay.
but I'll add it, we'll take a look at it. They're always like changing the names, you know?
Yeah.
All right, what else are we missing?
I'd rather say I have a private sewage disposal in my backyard instead of a septic.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else we're missing.
Is CIS and dual agency kind of same? Because does it specify the dual agency in there?
No, it's 2 separate forms.
Okay,
Yeah, 2 separate forms.
all right.
Yeah, the CIS is basically, the CIS is not a contractual obligation. It's just an information statement, right? So you're just explaining to them the business relationship. Now, the dual agency is more of a contractual
Got it.
agreement.
Got it.
Yeah, where they're actually giving you permission that you can act on as a dual agent.
Okay, thanks.
All right, listing agreement, home warranty. All right, and then, oh, did they have the checklist in here? Let's see, the Garden State checklist. And then, I know it's here, this one. So this is the GSMLS single family condo co-op profile sheet. So we add that. Okay. And I think that's pretty much it. Let me take a look at that private sewage thing real quick and see if that's septic. If it's not, then septic doesn't have. Standard form. Private subsurface sewage disposal. Yep, this is septic system. Okay. Other than a cesspool, right? Because the contract has a cesspool in it. This is different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. So this is for septic. Yeah. They should just call it that, but I guess there's different private sewage disposal.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the same thing. It should just be called septic.
Yeah, right.
Because the cesspool, you don't know what the cesspool is, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yep, so that's definitely the septic. Okay, so let's start off just taking a look at the forms, right? Listing commission. This is, again, this is for Garden State. I can show you a quick one for the CJ MLS while we're in here too. So it auto-populates all this. All right, and we're gonna go in and put it in, but I wanna show you how there's also different ones if you're doing a CJ MLS. So, let's see. Yep, exclusive right to sell or rent a listing agreement. It's the same. Yeah, same one. All right, and then Bright, like I said, doesn't have one. So what Bright doesn't have its own form like these other two do. So what we do is you just fill out a Garden State listing commission and keep it. Bright doesn't even require you to send it, but you need to have it in case they ask. So you can just use this one. So I'll show you the differences between the two. I like actually the Garden State one. It's pretty simple. Very simple to go through. And we can fill it out. So this is, it auto populates here, the subject property. See, this is the owner's address. It doesn't have to be the subject property, what we were saying. This needs to match the tax record. Okay, listed, we're the broker. Okay, we're listing it for sale. Let's say for 500. If it's a rental, you put the rental, but I always NA, anything I'm not filling out.
And then it's
Okay.
auto-populating just because it's in DocuSign, correct? And you already have the contact info?
Yeah, I put everything in the details. in
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's like just important to just fill out the details first, like as thoroughly as possible, then everything kind of auto populates.
Okay.
For the most part, but always verify it because sometimes the fields are off and so forth. But you can always type them in. So this is the disclosure of the business relationship, which has to match, all the other forms you're doing. So if it's a dual agency, right, you select that, but then you have to have a dual agency form to go with it. And then this is where you put the commission. So usually this is a no for sub agents. You can give a buyer's broker, let's say 2.5. No to transaction. And then these are all no, because it's not a rental. Sale commission, say 5%. This is NA. We're going to put a key box on it. The broker offering commission split of 2.5% minus, and then this is like where you're basically recouping your MLS fees, right? Because the Garden State MLS charges you $25 MLS fee per month per listing. Central Jersey charges you, I think it's still $10 per month per listing. So this is where you'll see, that they'll put like -50, -100. They're getting kind of greedy here too. They're putting like, I've seen -200, right? Some crazy numbers. I know. So, I mean, the standard is usually like -50, but I'm starting to see like 100 for.
Yeah, I always see like 125. It seems to be a big one. I always wondered
Yeah.
what that was.
Yeah, it's totally arbitrary. So this is sort of to cover your MLS fees. Like I said, it's only $25. And it used to be, people used to put like -25, -50 was like max, because if something didn't sell in 2 months, it's $25 for the first month, $25 for the second month, you see? So what they're doing now is they're saying -100, -200, it's like they're almost using that as like a little way to get a few extra bucks,
Yeah.
So I'm seeing -100 pretty common now for a house. Yeah. But that's completely arbitrary. You guys can put, what you like there.
Sophia, do you still put it as -100 there? Because even before that box, it says.
Oh yeah,
month
you don't
already.
have to. Yeah, you can just leave it like that. Yeah.
Or would it be, if you decided to like place it or list it in the Garden State MLS and Bright and maybe Central Jersey MLS? Would that be something that would just, I don't know, increase the
Would
fee?
it- Would it be what, you mean the subtracting?
Yeah, so maybe that's why the fee's so high. So it's 25, 35.
Well, yeah, they could put it in multiple ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
they could be doing that too. Yeah. Yeah, and so it's like 25 and then you're up to 35, and then realtor.com charges you a fee also, for
Zillow.
syndicating. Yeah. Which I think
How
is
about
also,
Zillow?
I don't know, Zillow does or not. I know realtor charges, I think it's 25. Yeah. All right. And then this section, people usually leave it blank, but this is basically says the commission shall be earned when a ready, able, and willing buyer is produced. By signing this agreement, the owner instructs the title agent attorney to pay the commission at such time. In the event the property is sold to the tenant during the term of its tenancy, the sale commission shall be paid by the owner to the listing broker if sold to the tenant by, this is usually like for a rental, this statement here. So like, for example, if this was a listing agreement for a rental and you found a tenant, and let's say in 3 months they want to sell their house to the tenant, that's your cover. So here, that way you still get a commission off of the sale. Like it's not a means to like them to escape the commission. That's basically what that is. So 3 months is typical here if you're doing a rental. Since we're not doing a rental, I just NA it. Or you can just not say anything at all if you're doing a rental and just NA it as well. But 3 months is usually a typical thing you put there for a rental. So like if you rent it, if you find that tenant, they rent it so that they can't, let's say in 3 months, come back and say, I really want to buy it. And then now the landlord has bypassed the whole system of paying you a commission.
Okay.
And then you put in here your information, your license number, your broker license, the license number for the office. Okay, and then these are where that you're going to load up the signatures here. And that is it here. Now, I've seen people like if you have a variable commission, right? You guys know what that is? Variable commission.
Yes.
What are some instances like you could have something like that? Like if you were trying to negotiate a dual agency, or you were trying to nail down, let's say like a listing, you could offer them slightly less if you end up being a dual agent. If that's the case, then when we go to do the signatures, you can put a little text box here and write it in. What I actually do is I had created my own form. That I use to do those types of things. Let's see. I had created my own form to do a variable commission, which
Can you
is.
send us a copy of it? Just so we
Yeah.
can make up one?
Yeah, I could do it. Let me find it. I know it's here somewhere. I showed it to you guys last time.
Just type it in your search bar.
Yeah. I think I have a variable. There it is. Like this is an example of one that I did.
Yeah, I took a picture of this last time.
Yeah, I showed you that last time. So I gave them a 4% variable if I was going to be a dual agent. And the reason like it's good to kind of have a separate one is you actually have to send it in with your listing agreement if you're going to have a variable, because one of the fields in the MLS itself is asking you, is this a variable? Is there a variable commission? And if you select yes, then they're going to want you to send something to say what the variable is. They don't post it. They don't post the amount or anything like that, but they would just want that. So yeah, that's how I have that. That's an
Do
example
we
of
have
one.
to get approval from the office before doing something like that?
No, this is totally your call, how you want to handle your commissions. I just add that it's very competitive nowadays. You know, you have to compete with these commissions now because these discount brokers that are coming in super, super low. I don't think don't offer it immediately. You try to, you have value, right? You have value. You want to tell them what your value is. You don't want to like lower your commissions, right? But
Right.
now you have a lot of the sellers that are like, well, I can sell it on my own. The first question now out of their mouth is, what is your commission? And I always ask, like, why are you looking to sell yourself? And they are, they think now like they can sell themselves. So you automatically know based on that answer that the commission is going to be like a really important factor. But before I would, even consider lowering the commission, you should really offer, give your value proposition to them, what you have to offer, right? When you're going into the listing, that's one of those like uncomfortable conversations, right? To have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But you got to have those conversations. The more you do of them, the easier they are, right? It's better to have like just knock them out, just knock out that conversation right away. Okay. All right. So then when you finish all this, hit save and close. And this one is an example of the Central Jersey MLS version. Okay. Township, it's over to lease. Okay. So here you would actually enter what the acceptable financing terms are. So you could say cash, conventional.
Sophia, so if you're listing on 2 MLSs, you got to do both?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
because they have their own forms.
So as many multiples you have on the MLSs, you got to fill it up, like you said, Bright also, if there is one, even if
No,
there-
Bright does not have one of their own.
Then
You can
you
just
just
use the Garden
show-
State.
Okay, Garden State, okay.
But CJ has its own, like here, and then the Garden State we just filled out has its own. So you would need to fill out the ones for those MLSs.
Understood.
Okay. This is for the rent, so this would be an NA. This one you just got to read a little bit. Indeed, a little bit more closely. Listing agreement begins on this day. Oh, we didn't put the date, the active date on the other one. I'll show you. Go back. So on this day, so you would enter, the date that it starts, say March 31st. And when it ends, right? You guys know it's usually typically 6 months, right? When you start the showing. So this one, actually, you can do a delayed showing, like right on here as a coming soon. Now, the other one, the Garden State, if you were to do a delayed showing, there's a separate form, which is an addendum to the listing agreement, like a delayed showing form, which gives you 10 extra days.
Say that again,
So you have I'll
for the
say this-
coming soon, because it's 10 extra days.
yeah, there's
Okay.
a separate form in the Garden State MLS that is for coming soon, basically. It's called a delayed showing of listing. This one.
Okay. Okay,
So this is like when you see coming soon, this is what that is. And it's telling you here basically that they're giving you 10 days property on the real estate during the delayed show. This previews brokerage plan. Seller can terminate unless the delayed showing is ended. Here it is right here. The initial delayed showing period and the extension of the delayed showing period may not exceed 10 days. Each
Okay.
extension of the delayed showing period requires a submission of a new delayed showing of listing form. So you're gonna do 10 days, and if you need to go beyond 10 days, you gotta fill this out, a new one, and get permission again.
okay.
And it tells you, so how do I actually, how do I use this form? What I do is I make my listings active on a Wednesday, but I don't start showing until my open house on Sunday. And it's a great practice actually to do because you're creating a lot of buzz behind the listing. Everybody's seeing it syndicated on Zillow, on Realtor, right? They're getting it in their auto emails from agents, right? They're calling up their agents, they're calling you up. Everybody wants to do a showing, but you can't show it. And then everybody's going to show up at the open house, and that's leads for you, right? You would much rather, and it's leads, and also people see a ton of people and they start to get frantic, they start throwing offers in, right? So there's a lot to be said for doing a delayed showing to the open house. I think it's a really good practice to do. So what you would do is make a listing active on a Wednesday, fill out a delayed showing form. The date when listing may be shown, you would put the date that was that open house day on Sunday, right? And have them sign it along with the listing agreement. And then this would also accompany your forms that you send to the Garden State MLS, because they're going to need to know that. Okay. So on the, let me just go back here to the Garden State for a second. So here, the term of the agreement, we had forgotten to fill in. So if, let's say if the listing goes active on Thursday, the expiration date, would be in 6 months later, right? Let's see, on the 30th, right? Something like that. We forgot to fill that in. Now, Central Jersey MLS has that delayed showing built into its contract already, so it doesn't have a separate form. So it says here, showing starts on, this is where you would enter it. Owners grant the listing broker the exclusive right to place his or her signs on the property, advertise the property. All right. Okay. Okay, owner permits internet display, yes. Do you want to display the address on there? Yes. It's going to be a lockbox, yes. Okay. Owner agrees to pay a broker sale commission of, this is where you would put the split.
2.5, right?
Yeah.
Do you do the minus?
The minus is down here on
The
this,
buyer, yeah, okay.
a commission split of, okay, sale, this is the total commission actually. And this is where the split goes down here.
Okay.
Just like that. If it was a rental, you put it here, a lease renewal commission of, usually you don't have it. Broker protection, the above commission, this is now what we were saying in the other one about the selling to a tenant, right? The above commission shall also apply if a property is placed under contract of sale or lease this many months after the expiration or termination of this listing to a prospect who has been shown the property during the term of the listing and the property is not of the subject listing agreement with another broker at the time the property. So this is like kind of like your coverage. Again, like if there was a tenant that was there and like you want to give it 3 months, right, before they say, okay, we won't really want to buy it, right? Or this is also coverage, let's say if your listing expired and now there was a buyer that came and wants to buy it that you had shown the property to,
Okay.
right? It's really your buyer. It's protecting you. It's a protection clause built into this. And I usually put 3 months. I think that's reasonable. Tenant, okay. A commission of would also be due if the premises are sold to a tenant to which a rental commission was payable to the broker. So this is the protection of the, like we said, with the tenants, right? Commission of, and then you would put what that commission would be. Being that it was, you know, existing tenant, like maybe you only want to do like a 3%, right? To
Okay.
yourself or a 2.5%, whatever that is, because there's really no compete, right? There's no other agent involved in it. And this is the split here. And then the next page, you're going to select here the relationship you have with them. So if dual agency, and again, here it's known, no, this is where you put the compensation. Owners will pay. Okay, usually I just put NA that the points, you know, we don't get involved with the point system, NA that, we put 0. And then these are the addendums. So is there an alternate commission agreement? So if you have a variable commission, you would select yes, and then you have to attach it. Number of attachments, 1. And then any other addenda to the contract. Usually it would be like only a variable. You have to select what it is. If it's residential, you have to select what items are included. And what items are excluded. You would write it down. Okay, and then you would load up the signatures here, and then you just put their phone number there.
So
That's
the
not bad.
steps are pretty much similar to what we did the other day on a buyer's listing, right? It's just the different forms and you should have to go through the whole.
Yeah, the process is exactly the same. It's just different forms.
Right.
Okay. Home warranty disclosure is going to be the same. The addendum we just showed you for the septic, right? Home warranty, yes, the same. The CIS is the same, but just from a seller's perspective this time. Right, instead of filling out this part, we're filling out this part.
Okay.
And then you're going to select that you're a dual agent, seller's agent and dual agent. And then you just put the date in.
Do you also have like the seller's disclosure here in this document, or that's the seller going to fill it up and give it to you?
Yeah, so it's right here.
Okay.
So what I usually do with that, it just depends how or how computer savvy they are, right? You can either print it out and give it to them to do by hand, right? Which it looks like you have to, because there was an older one where the fields were actually active. They could go in and click on it. So here you would just have them, you know, print it out. Like you could just have a PDF of it and really just send it to them and just have them fill out and then come back later in DocuSign and then upload it like a PDF from your computer. That's the best way to.
You could just go to NJR and then just like upload it, download it, whatever, and then just send it to them, right? And couldn't they fill that out?
Yeah, that's all. It's easier to do it that way. And then come back into DocuSign and then just upload it to put the signatures in. For like a later time. Yeah. Like, for example, like to keep it in DocuSign, but then if you had the buyer as well, so you can just load the signature up that way. It used to be where you could click on these, but it doesn't have the field right now active. Yeah, it is easier to just, PDF it and email it. And then they just print it and fill it out. Okay, CIS. Okay, this is the dual agency form. Basically just saying that they're giving you permission, consent to represent both seller and buyer in a transaction. And then dual agency is not necessarily the same agent, it's the same brokerage. So, if there were two of you from Keller Williams Cornerstone, one representing the seller, one representing the buyer, that would be considered dual agency. Because you're dual agency with the firm, right? With the brokerage, not with the agent. Does everybody understand that point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So once you have it all of these filled out, you can select the ones that you want. So for example, we can do select all, but let's say I don't want to send the property disclosure because I'm going to email that. So you go like that, or there's no septic, right? Whatever you want to include. And then you're going to go to create the envelope. And I won't go through like the whole signature thing unless you guys like want me to. You guys know how to do the signatures more or less, right?
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy enough.
We
Yeah.
did that right the other day.
Yeah, we did that last time. It's gonna be exactly the same. And then this is exactly the same too. Where, you give it a name, you take a look at them. You can actually move these around. Oh, I didn't. And then also, add the recipient, room participants. Right now, you're gonna be the listing agent, right? And then the seller, right? And then you're gonna hit next and then start loading up signatures, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I won't go into that in detail. So, and then under documents, I want to show you the Garden State checklist, or they call it profile sheet. Oh, sorry about that.
So we have to follow that for what is required to be filled in. Is that what it is?
Yeah, this is basically what the MLS is going to look like when you go in.
Mhm.
So it does help. It does help to do this. It's a little tedious, but they require you to submit this form with the listing. I don't know how much of it they actually review. So you see, this is basically it's the profile sheet. This is everything you're going to add in the MLS. So you can, you can start filling this out. It does make it a little easier when you're starting to do the MLS. But the owner signed these as well. See, owner initials.
So this is different from the MLS that you create for the listing.
Yeah, we'll go into, let me do that. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's go into one. So let's do the Garden State MLS. Now you can save it as incomplete ahead of time. It doesn't have the ability where you say, okay, I'm going to make it active in 2 days and then hit save. And then it doesn't automatically in 2 days kick in. It won't do that. So it'll save it as incomplete. and then you have to physically go in on the day and make it active. Do you see my point?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So when we create a list,
Sorry.
that's okay. You go
That's
to,
Tom.
my dog has been growling. I don't know if you guys can hear him. He's been growling the entire time. So you go to view agent inventory. You want to add a listing. Right? And then you'll hit add
Wait, I missed that. Where'd you go? So you went to
agent management,
Okay.
add listing. Right there. And then it takes you to this page. Now, if you were already starting, you could put whatever the listing is, like the status of it, you can click on. There's also like, it shows you so for example, this is gonna, if once you're here and if you click on active, it's gonna show you all your actives. If you click on this one, it's gonna show you all of your under contracts. If you click on productivity, it's gonna show you all the ones that you've sold in Garden State. It's gonna give like your history. If you go to incomplete, these are where you have drafts created that the listings are going to happen at some point, but they're not active yet. So you can save them as incomplete.
Okay.
So to add a listing, okay. Okay. You're just going to click add. You're going to say what it is, residential, whatever it is. You'll hit continue. And then you're going to start to fill in all the information. They actually made this a little simpler. It was a little more difficult earlier, earlier. So auto populate is when it automatically pins the address. And then you can make adjustments to the map. Then you start putting in property information. Yeah, you have to complete all this first to go to the next one. Property information, general information, any remarks you want to add, dimensions, utilities, everything you guys see in the MLS form. This is where you start putting it in. And then if you're need to stop, you would hit save and complete, and it'll save your progress. Or, if, like I said, if you're going active in 2 days and you just want to fill this out just to have it ready, you can do that and say save and complete. And then if it is incomplete, it would be here, and then you would select this, and then continue editing, or on the day that you want to make it active, come in here, click on it and make it active.
Okay.
It's actually quick now, the way they design this. Used to be a lot more tedious. Okay. I know we're at 7. Do you guys have any questions about this so far? It's pretty much,
Pretty simple.
it's pretty much like the buyers thing, but the forms are just slightly different.
Right. And again, we can reference to the command for the forms required, right? It tells you.
Yeah, they're all here.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all here. And now the exclusive listing form, let me go here, show you what that looks like. It's probably under here. Let's find it. There. Done. Okay, here. So there's exclusive listing and exclusive listing addendum. So this is basically saying that here part known as, you put the address in, how long the exclusive listing is going to be for. So a period of how many months, and it will expire on this day. And you're selling it for this much, or any other price on or any other terms. Okay. And this is where you're going to put the commission. And then you're going to just describe the property, block, lot number, just give a little description and some improvements that are on it. Said property is rented as follows. If it's rented, you put it there. If it's not, you just NA it. And if it has tenants, you list it there. Oops. And then here it's basically saying, your internal seller shall authorize as a listing broker. You know, you put up, you're allowed to put up a sign. Now, if you do put up a sign and you have an exclusive listing, a suitable sign advertising the sale, make sure like you have a rider. If you're going to be doing this, a rider that says exclusive on it. That way people will
Wait,
know.
what do you
it's a-
mean? So if you, where do you put that rider? On a sign or?
Yeah, like on your for sale sign, because you are allowed to advertise an exclusive listing with your sign
Okay,
on the lawn.
yeah, so you would just say exclusive?
Yeah, I would just get, if you're gonna do this, like just have a rider that says exclusive,
Okay,
you know, something like that. Because it's different from coming soon. You know, some people mix the two up. It's totally two different things.
yeah, I can
Coming
see that.
soon, what's that?
No, I understand the difference. Can you advertise the exclusive like on Facebook? You can do it
Yes.
anywhere you want,
So
right?
you
Google
just
business?
Yes, you can advertise it on Facebook. You can advertise it on social media. And internally, you know, in the office, you just are not permitted to, for other, you know, you're not giving other brokers the cooperation.
Gotcha.
It's only internal, yeah. And it's saying here sold or exchanged in the event it's sold within 6 months. Okay, shown property, register, okay, seller acknowledges, okay, understands, okay. And then they're gonna sign this, very simple, right?
Mhm.
And then there's an addendum that goes with it. So this is your coverage, basically, that they understand that by signing an exclusive listing agreement, that they're waiving broker cooperation. So it's telling them here that sales potential may be limited by the use of this waiver, because it's not going in the MLSs. So you're basically telling them by signing this, you're acknowledging that you're limiting the exposure of the listing. And that's their understanding. This is your legal coverage. Okay. Evidence shall be in writing, form of a waiver cooperation. Okay, this waiver. So I understand that cooperation amongst brokers produces wider exposure of my property and may result in it being sold or leased sooner and at a higher price than would be the case for my broker not to cooperate with other brokers, right? It's your legal coverage. Now, this is really, really great to use. Like, let's say you have a listing right now, we're in March. Let's say we don't want to list our house until after the school year is done. All right, so now we're in June, right? Mid-June. So what happens between now and mid-June? If you have just the listing agreement signed, it's going to be active mid-June, right? So what happens between now and then? You know, this exclusive listing gives you protection that you retain your seller. Because what happens if they go and they find another broker in between? Right? There's a lot of things that could happen in between. So the exclusive listing agreement kind of keeps them on the hook, right? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and given, you know, the current market,
So
you could probably double end it. What's that?
you can also have them sign this, say if you preview the home and they're not ready to, like, the house is not ready to be
Mhm.
listed. And
Absolutely.
it's gonna be another few months before they do it. You could just sign this up and just wait till it's all done, right?
Yeah, if the house needs repairs, needs all
Right.
those things done, right? You can have one of these in place. And maybe, you know, given the current market situation, there's a very good chance you can sell it by just advertising it on Facebook or within the office. I mean, how many of us just now tonight says, hey, do you have any of this, right? Available?
Everybody
Right.
has buyers.
Everybody's got buyers. Yeah. So it's like pretty much in the office, it's like, you know, chum with sharks, right? You're like, where's the listing?
Yeah,
Where's the
so
listing?
there was a listing posted by somebody from our office. And so I sent that listing to a lot of buyers that were looking for in that area. you know.
Okay, yeah,
I mean, it's not exclusive, but what I'm saying is, yeah, it was the same brokerage firm, right? It's.
But there are a lot of other realtors around here who are keeping it in-house now. So it's going to become common. I think for this
Yeah.
market.
yeah, absolutely. And this is the way that they're combating the current market situation, right? Because they have so many buyers, right? We have so many buyers,
Yeah.
right? So why not give it to ours? Why not double end it? You know?
Yeah.
So this is very, very common now. And this is also why you're not seeing a lot of listings really hit the MLS.
You're right, because they're all keeping them in-house
They're keeping them in-house.
and
Yeah.
they're advertising their in-house.
Mhm.
So they'll just say, contact me. I'm all, exclusive.
Yeah, and we should do the same.
We should do it. Yeah.
Do the same thing.
I just need to get a listing.
Yeah. Don't we all? What have you guys been doing? I know we're over on time. What have you guys been doing as far as lead gen for some listings?
Send some flyer. I need to send some new flyers out. I need to do that. Raj said there's, I need to do a
EDDM?
second one. I was using Vistaprint, but he said there's something better to use in the office, a different kind of format. So I think I want to do that. I gotta do that tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys have farm areas you want to send out those postcards to and
Yeah.
using the EDDM.
That's
Like
what
we
he's
did-
talking about, the EDDM.
Yeah, we did it like the spotlight on that time on EDDM. Yeah, we we can easily show you how to do that. It's super easy. It's the cheapest way is through the post office, the EDDM.
I
Yeah.
did it the other way, the expensive one.
Yeah, hi, Kelly. Yeah, we did them last week.
Yeah, Joanna was took the postcards to the post office. Like Nina Singh did a bunch of them.
Okay.
Oh, I
Now
have
wait.
to do that.
Yeah, now Wayne is doing a bunch of them now too. So the
How do you
trick,
set it up? Is there like, is there a video for it? Or is it just easy to do?
no, you just have to create a postcard. If you actually go to the post office website,
Okay.
I'll show you. I haven't seen, you have to create it as like a business account. So you go to the post office. So this is, how to create. Let me go to,
I just didn't even know where to find it.
yeah, so yeah, you go to USPS.com. Let's just say you went to USPS.com, right?
Okay.
Go to business, every door direct mail, EDDM.
Okay.
Okay, it takes you here. You're going to register first, right? Sign, I have, as a business, right?
Yep.
Sign in. Once you sign in, then, start filling this out. So if you have an address like that you want to do, like here, I have Daisy's in here from last time. This was hers, right? She sold a house in Columbus and she says, okay, I want to send an EDDM there. So you hit search for her, where the home was located that she sold. It takes you here and it gives you all the mail routes,
Oh, that's great.
right? And then you can select like what routes you want. And then if you want it like a table format instead of a map
Wait, so
format,
say that I wanted that route there. So how do I,
okay, if you wanted this route,
yeah, just click on it?
click on it and see it added it. And if you
Okay.
want another one, click on the other one.
Okay.
It adds that as number 2. Okay, I want the other one, it adds that. And then it tells you how many total mail pieces that is and what the cost is.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, and this is just the cost of mailing, not the cost of the actual mail piece that you have to create, right?
Gotcha.
So we use the guy in Hillsborough, Nina did, to do her printing.
Oh, yeah, the one in, I use him too.
Matt,
Yeah, at Hillsborough, by Hillsborough ShopRite.
Mailbox.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, so this is, and then you just go through to the next step, you just go through, it's super easy. Super
Wait a
easy to
second, so
do.
here, under this site, do I actually create it? Do I create the postcard here, or I just,
Well, they have a printer if you wanted to use one of their printers, or
Okay.
you just use like a local guy to print it. So then at the end, what you do is you select the routes. You're here so right now we just selected the routes. This is the mailing cost.
Okay,
Kelly,
the
if
mailing
it's-
cost
If
only.
it's anything easy, you can reach out to Matt. He charges like $25 for designing the postcard, and he can
Okay.
also help you print it. So if that makes it
Yeah.
any easy for you.
Yeah,
great,
like
thank you.
like he can print it and then you can come here and select your route. And then when you go to him, have your routes kind of already selected so you know how many mail pieces you'll need. So like when you go to him, you'll know like how, but he does, you might as well get, like 5,000 of them. Because the maximum that you can do here, the minimum I believe is 200 that you send at a time. And
Okay,
the maximum is 5,000 that you can send.
okay,
So if you wanted to just have him print a bunch of them, maybe get a little bit more of a discount and keep them for the next time. Because the trick to the EDDM is you don't do it just once, right? You
right,
got to do it the next month and then the next month. It's internal like memory muscle, right? People see you all the
right.
time coming
Mhm.
through. Or if you wanted to use an online person, if you wanted to price it, I mean, they're not that cheap online either, maybe local, but price it out. You can actually find the printer and they do have them. They have, these guys will print, they'll print and send it. They tend to be more expensive.
Okay, I'll go to Matt. Why not?
Yeah. It's so much easier because, well, he'll also be able to, you have a local guy to talk to, right?
Yeah,
Maybe for the designing purposes makes it
Yeah, he
easier.
does the designing and he's
Yeah.
reasonable. So
Yeah.
yeah, for the first time you can do that. You can play around with it. It's very simple. It's not difficult at all.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
very easy. Yeah. And then what you do is, once he prints them out, you have boxes of mailers, right? So you have boxes of mailers on your desk. Then you come here, you select the routes, you pay the postage for the routes.
yep,
And then you bulk them into packs of 100. Like you take 100 of each of the
He does
mailers.
that too.
Sophia, yeah,
Sophia.
can I add as well?
Go
Because
ahead. Go
we
ahead.
had already mailed, he prepares already by hundreds. So I think we discuss with him, just make sure you know how many you want in a pack. And I believe hundreds are better because then when you fill out the sheets for it with the bulk and how many are, it's just easier to count for your routes as well, that when you have to fill it out. So what I found out is best in hundreds. It's just easy then to count if you need to, lower it down or.
Yeah, he does that. Matt says that he does bunch it in hundreds.
Pack of hundreds. That's the best option.
And then you take those to the post office, and then each of those is going to have like a little cover page on it to say, okay, this is bunch 1 of 5, bunch 2 of 5, bunch 3 of 5, that kind of thing. And then
okay,
you're going to have one master form that's saying these are the routes. Does that make sense?
yeah,
And
definitely.
you just give it to the guy, the post office guy, and then they give it to the mailman, and then it gets delivered on that route.
We have to make sure also which post office, right? Because
Oh,
we
yeah,
have-
good point. So if, for example, Daisy sold this one in Columbus, right?
Mhm.
You actually have to go drop these off at the local post office that delivers that route. So keep that in mind. Like
Okay.
I had done it for Princeton. I had to actually go to the Carnegie Center and drop it off.
I did too.
If you were to do routes in Somerset, you have to go to the Somerset post office. So when you're doing this, it actually tells you what the post office is
Okay.
that services that route. Now, if it was like really far away, and you had to do it. If you go to your local post office, you have to pay basically a delivery fee to deliver it to that other post office.
I'll forget that.
Yeah. So 9 times out of 10, it's more local than anything, right? So yeah, simple enough. This is not too bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, and this is the cheapest way to do it is through the USPS. Any other questions about listings, guys?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet.
Are you going
Right.
to give us a practice one on this too?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Want me to send you this? Do a practice one.
Yeah, might as well.
I'll
yeah.
send it to you. Yep. We'll
I
send you a
wouldn't mind.
practice one.
It's a good practice. We did that last time, so it's helpful.
Yep. And I'm open to ideas. I'm planning on doing for the month of April, more of these types of trainings.
What
on
about
the two-
anything on smart plans? That's the only thing I've never seen anything about that.
Well, Tech Tuesdays, we've done smart plans.
Yeah, I was working, that's why, but I can do.
Yeah. So the tech guys will do technology stuff usually on Tuesdays. we may try to do something soon on that, so stay tuned on that.
Okay.
But if there's anything else related to contractual things for, you know, our side of things, really anything, like we did CMAs, right? We did contract of sale, we did a listing.
So Sophia, if I may, sometime whenever like you want to do this listing presentation, if you want to go over that topic, that'd probably be helpful.
I was actually gonna do one on listing presentation. I was gonna do one on open house, since we're doing open houses, how to conduct an open house.
Mhm.
I have experience with that.
And
Yeah.
and the other thing was, remember I had asked last time, maybe something on the scripts. I mean, when you go into April, you might start that elements again, but like
We're gonna
where
start
I'm going,
we're gonna start Spark and Ignite on May the 5th.
May.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to keep, let me see my calendar.
So yeah,
wanted
so
to keep-
sometime
I
in
wanted
April, if you can do the
Oh,
script.
actually, May the 3rd. May the 3rd, we're starting
So that's a month
Ignite.
out. So if you can do that scripts or something in one of the sessions, that'll be helpful too.
They're
Okay.
downloaded somewhere. Why can't I not remember that?
Yeah, if you guys actually if you go to the KW Connect and you
Yes.
do a search scripts, you can find scripts there for FISBOs, for a bunch of things. They
But
are
there is
there.
one for a listing agreement. There's one for buyers. There's a whole bunch.
There's a whole, yeah, KW Connect is a really good resource, actually. It's got a ton of videos. It's actually got the Spark and Ignite videos too.
Okay.
Yep, so we'll do a listing presentation one, we'll do an open house one. And then anything else you guys want that, you know, is value added, I'm open to suggestions. We'll keep April to be the month of just doing these types of things. You guys, I think that's helpful, right? These are more like real life.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
very
think-
helpful.
Like the CMA was really helpful. The
Yes.
buyer's agreement was helpful last time. Now we learned the listing agreement. So all these things are really helpful.
Very, very helpful.
Now, what about for rentals? Is it just the same thing? You have the list, it's just a rental agreement at the lease?
Yeah, we can actually do one on rental. I wouldn't mind doing one on
Yeah.
rental because there is a whole NTN process for
Okay.
those. We can do a rental one day for training too, you know?
Great. Do that soon.
You have one coming up? Okay.
I've been working on a bunch of rentals, so that's why I'm like, I don't know what to do if I get it.
Maybe we can do that one next week. This coming Thursday, I'm doing the virtual career seminar for the CJREI school. So if you guys know of anybody that's looking to get into real estate, then, you know, send them our, the information. So give them my email and I can send them the info, you know, so.
Now, when are you going to actually conduct the class? I'm thinking of my daughter. Is it going to be, when will it start?
If you go to their website, CJREI, let me
Yeah.
pull it up.
Okay.
It's,
Jeff going to teach it again too? I guess, maybe.
what's that?
Is Jeff Fetzko going to teach it?
He teaches it and there's Gloria teaches it. So Jeff does the full-time and Gloria does the part-time.
Oh, that's good to know. That's what I was getting. That was, okay, good.
Yeah, so you can do a 2-week full-time.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, you know, then they also have,
Lori.
this is the virtual seminar that they can sign up for. So this coming Thursday, this is the one I do on Thursdays. It's like an introduction, like what the business is all about. So this is a 2-week full-time, and then, oh, this is the 5-week flexible one.
And
you
what
can
time
actually-
are those? When is that? Is
You
that
can actually enroll, it's from 6 to 10, and you can
Okay.
actually enroll on a rolling admissions basis. You can, you know, so you can, if you can't happen to catch it in between. So like if it's like 18 classes, right, 5 weeks, let's just say that's 18, you're in class 18. Then you catch it on 18, when the class is over and then it starts all over again from 1, then you pick it up at 1 and just keep
Okay.
going. It's like a rolling admission, yeah,
going? Okay,
okay,
that's
all
good.
right. Okie dokie.
All right, well, thank you very much.
I'll send you guys, let me write everybody's name that was here and I'll send you guys, you know, to do a listing agreement, right? Send you some names, commission, right? That kind of thing.
Sure.
So we got Ash, yep, we got Ash, Shalini, Kelly, Priya, and Joanna. And I think we had Yinka. Yinka, and Mary Ellen. Okay, got everybody. All right. All
Thanks.
right,
Jyoti.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Yeah,
much,
I'll
Sophia.
send you this video too. I recorded it.
Great.
So I'll send-
All right,
Great,
thanks. a lot.
awesome. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right, guys. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Night.